Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on transforming client communication with Yulio. My name is Nicole. I'm one of the client success specialists here at Yulio, and I'll be hosting today's session. The main objective for today's webinar is to go over how you can share, showcase, and present your VR projects using a variety of tools and features available directly within your Yulio account. This training will cover lots of information, so if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to enter them in the question box, and I will answer them during the question and answer period at the end of our session. My contact details are also on the screen now, so if you'd like to follow up on today's webinar with a walkthrough of anything we did or didn't cover today, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to set that up with you. Finally, if you do have to leave today's session early, I am recording the full webinar and we'll be sending that to all registrants a little bit later so you can watch it back and share it with your team as well. All right, here's our agenda for today's webinar. I'll start off by going over some options for sharing your projects internally across teams. Then I'll go over some ways Yulio enables you to share your projects with clients. Next, we'll go over how to access and review your project analytics and wrap up with a mock collaborate session. And of course, I'll leave some time at the end, like I said, to answer any questions that might have come up during the session. So the first topic that we're going to cover today is internal sharing. The goal here is to show you how you can share your Yulio projects and work collaboratively with your colleagues across teams. So I'm just going to log into my Yulio account to get started. So if you're new to Yulio, the page that we're on now is the projects page. This is where you can create a new project and where all the projects on your account are stored. Yulio offers a folder system to help you keep your projects organized. You can see all the folders I've created on the left side of my screen here. If you have more than one team member connected to your company's Yulio account, folders are a great a great tool, for collaborating and sharing projects amongst each other. Yulio offers two different types of folders, public and private. Your private folders are solid black and can help you control access to select projects, as well as protects your work from accidental edits or deletions. These folders are visible to you, any members you select to give access to, and anyone listed as an admin on your account. To create a new folder, you'll just click on the Create Folder button here. And then you'll be able to name your project or name your folder, and then press create. So by default, all new folders are created as private folders. You can click and drag your folder to reorder it or create a subfolder. If your Yulio account has multiple team members connected to it and you want to share your private folder with everyone, you can drag it under your team folder. You can drag it under your team folder to make it public. If or when you're done sharing your folder with everyone, you can go back in and drag it down to the bottom of your list here to make it private. So Yulio also offers the option to give only select team members access to your private folder, which you can do by selecting your folder, selecting these three dots next to the title, and permission. So from here, you can choose which team members to add to this folder. Now for public folders. So as I mentioned, your team folder is public by default. So adding projects to this folder or adding subfolders under team is a simple way to give access to and share projects with everyone on your account. It's also great for collaborating because anyone on the account will be able to go in and edit the projects within these folders. Something else you can do with Yulio is move single projects around to new folders. So for example, if you have a project in one of your private folders that you want to make public to your team, but you don't necessarily want to share the entire folder, you can just move the project to a public folder. So to do this, you would open up one of your private folders and then select which project you want to move. And then you can click on the three dots on that project and then select Move. From here, you can choose which public folder to move your project to. And then after you press select, the project will move out of its original folder and into the new one. And then, of course, if you wanted to move it back eventually, you can do that later. Now, in a scenario where you want to move the project, but you don't want to potentially affect the original copy, you can duplicate the project first and then move the copied version over to the public folder. So again, you would just click on these three dots on the project you want to move or duplicate, select duplicate, and then you can copy the entire project. And then once that's done copying, you can follow those same steps and move the project over to the new folder. Okay, so that covers our basis for sharing projects with internal team members. So now let's get into some of the different ways you can share your projects externally with clients or even colleagues outside of your Yulio account. So I'm going to start off by opening one of my projects. And this takes you to our project edit page. From here, you'll see 4 tabs at the top of the page. We have assets, which we're in now, markups, which includes your markup report, which I'll touch on a little bit later. We have share and analytics. Right now, we're going to click on share. Within this tab is where you'll find most of your external sharing options. The first thing you'll notice is your project URL. Each project you create with Yulio will generate its own unique URL, and you can come here to copy the link and share it externally anywhere you might share a regular URL. On the left side of your URL, you'll see, on the right side of your URL, you'll see a few more sharing options. This first icon opens your project's unique QR code that you can download and share. The QR code is a great tool to use at an event or trade show. You can include it in a presentation deck or have it on display at your booth. And anyone with a smartphone can scan the code to view the project right on their phone. The next icon we have is text sharing, which allows you to share the link to your project via text message. Next to that, we have the Embed Project button, and this enables you to embed your project directly on your website. This is a great tool for showcasing a portfolio of Yulio projects on one of your web pages. So if you're not familiar with how to embed content on your website, we suggest just reaching out to your marketing or IT team to help you. There are some settings here that you can adjust, which determine how your project will look and perform once it's embedded. So you can adjust the size, and these viewer controls here allow you to turn on or off controls that the viewer has, such as moving from scene to scene and sharing. We do have a knowledge base article that goes into more detail about these settings. So if this is something you're interested in, you can refer to that article anytime from our knowledge base. And just as a reminder, you can easily access our knowledge base by selecting the resources tab here at the top and clicking on knowledge base. And just so you can get an idea of what an embedded project might look like, here's an example on our website of an embedded Yulio project. So this is what your client would see. They'd be able to navigate it just like they would a typical in browser mode, as they normally would in browser mode. So they can move scene to scene and yeah. Okay. The next icon we have next to embed is just a copy button for you to copy the URL. And then this final icon here allows you to share the project directly to a few different social media platforms and email. So it's just a quick way to share your project to any of those outlets. To the right of your URL, you'll see this button here titled Default Starting Scene. So this tab allows you to adjust the starting scene to which your project opens. So this is helpful if you want your client to look at a specific scene in your project without having them have to move through all the scenes to get to it. All right. So on top of these tools here, another way to share your project is using our Client Galleries feature. So Client Galleries allows you to create a collection of up to 20 projects to share directly with your client, or you can create a curated gallery of projects for a VR presentation at an upcoming event or trade show. To get started with Client Galleries, just click on the Resources tab here again and select Client Galleries from the drop-down menu. Next, you'll click, if you don't have any galleries already created, you'll click on Create Gallery. And here you'll see two gallery options. We have individual and event. And you can create an unlimited number of either galleries without having to purchase another Yulio license. So as I said before, individual gallery allows you to create and share a portfolio of projects directly with your client. It provides them a place to log in, view their gallery, and connect a headset. This is a great way to share a collection of projects with a client without having to send multiple project links to them. You can update your client's gallery at any time, and those updates are reflected immediately for your client. So it's a convenient way to keep things organized. On top of this, if your client has a MetaQuest VR headset, they can connect their headset to the gallery, and any projects uploaded to the gallery will be sent right to their headset. The second option we have here is Event Gallery. This allows you to create a gallery of up to 20 projects without the need to invite a client. So this option is great for managing which projects are showcased on your headsets before heading into your next trade show or event or even a meeting. So let's just say you wanted to create an individual gallery for a client. You'll just click on this here and enter their name and email. Then you'll add projects to their gallery. You can connect a headset for them, or if they have their own, they can do it later. And then you'll just press send, and the client will receive a link to their email to access the gallery. And then I'm just going to show you an example of what a gallery might look like to your client. Oops. So this is an example here that I have of what client galleries look like. Okay, so now that you know how to share your projects, you might want to know how you can keep track of when and how they're being viewed. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this with the Yulio. We'll start by going back to our projects page and then opening a project that we're interested in viewing the analytics for. So as I pointed out earlier, these four tabs at the top here, this time we're going to click on Analytics. Okay, so here you can see the data surrounding how, when, and where this specific project has been viewed, and it breaks down that data by individual view. You can see the total views here, the date and time it was viewed, approximate location, the method of viewing, and so on. You can also adjust the time frame using these tabs here to see viewer analytics during a certain period of time. Now, if you want to review how all of your projects are performing, you can use the Project Traffic Report tool. And this is, again, located under this Resources tab at the top of your page. So you can select Project Traffic Report. And this shows you a report of viewer traffic across all VR projects on your account. And you can filter and sort that data based on date, time, and or project to produce a custom report that includes only the data that you need. All right, we are going to wrap up today's webinar with a collaborate session. So to do this, you can click on, let's go back to the projects you can click on Collaborate right at the top of your page. So Collaborate is Yulio's best tool for presenting your projects to clients and colleagues. So when you host a Collaborate session, everyone can meet in the same virtual space, and you can guide viewers around the space, see what others are seeing, and even collect feedback in real time. So we see this feature used for in-person and remote meetings, and even at events. With Collaborate, all guests that you're meeting with, whether in person or remote, can join from a VR headset or in browser mode. So to launch the session, you're just going to click on Start Collaborating. As the host, just an FYI, you must launch a Collaborate session from your browser. So from your computer or laptop. You can't launch a session from a VR headset. Next, you're going to select which project you'd like to host your session in. So I'm going to open that up now. Something to note here is that if you have a headset connected to your Yulio account and you have projects uploaded to your headset gallery, when you start a Collaborate session, the first project in your headset gallery will auto load here by default. Right now, I have this setting turned off, which is why I went in and selected my project manually. That being said, if you'd like to select your project manually each time like I have, you have a headset connected to your account and projects under that headset gallery, you're going to just want to turn that setting off like I have. So you can do that by selecting the settings button and then turning off auto load first headset project. All right. To add guests to your session, you're going to click on this person icon with the plus sign next to it. If your guests are in a position where they can see the screen that we're looking at, they can go ahead and scan this QR code on their phone and join on their mobile device. They can also join by going to live.yulio.com and entering this unique group code. So today's group code is E5JR. And I'm going to invite now whoever wants to join this session to join on their mobile device. So you can, again, either scan this QR code with your phone, with the camera app on your phone, or like I said, visit live.yulio.com and enter the group code, which is E5JR. So I'll give everyone a minute to join. So when a new guest joins, you'll see them pop up in the Participants tab here. I'll just give one more minute. So if you've joined on your mobile device, you can look at My Screen to see what your perspective will be as you host sessions moving forward. What you see on your mobile device is what your guest experience will look like. Okay, so let's get started with our session now. So looking at my screen, there's two ways you can present your Collaborate session. Present mode and explore mode. So right now we're in present mode. By default, Collaborate sessions will open in present mode, and we recommend starting off in this mode because it gives you as the host the control to guide your viewers through the experience and direct your viewers' attention to certain areas in a scene. In this mode, only the host can activate hotspots and move to new scenes. Before we start looking around, an important thing to note is that while in presenter mode, your guest screens will not be following your gaze exactly. So if you join the session, you'll notice that we're in the same scene, but as I look around, the view on your phone doesn't follow. That said, as the host, I am able to direct my guest's attention to a certain area at any time using this spotlight button that looks like a flashlight up here in the corner. So let's use a spotlight button to direct your attention over to this table here. So I'll move my gaze over, select spotlight. And if you join the session, you should see that your gaze was redirected to match mine. All right, now I'm going to open up the floor plan here, which is this floor plan icon at the bottom of the screen. From here, we can see all these different location markers on the floor plan. These reflect the various scenes in my project. So if I click on one of these markers, we'll actually all move to a new scene. So as you can see, we're viewing the space now from a new location. Now I'm going to point out a couple of different hotspots we have here. So this is a video hotspot. If I open that up, you should see that on your phone as well. And if I turn around here, there's a text hotspot, and I can open that up, and you should see it on your phone as well. And I think those are all the different hotspots I have in here. We can move to a new location as well just by clicking on one of our navigation hotspots. So I can move us all over here to view 5. Here's an image hotspot we can all look at. All right, so now that we've tested out some of the hotspots, I'm just going to go over some of the host controls that you have available at the top of your screen. So the first one we have here is Scene List. And this icon allows you to easily switch scenes. So instead of using the floor plan or navigation hotspots, you can just use this as well, this option as well. Beside that, we have Select Project, which allows you to switch to a new project entirely. And then we have the Spotlight button, which we just went over. And then we have the Project Markup tool. So the Markup tool allows you to mark up your project while viewing in browser mode or during a Collaborate session. So you can't use the feature while wearing a headset. However, this is a great tool for recording client feedback during your Collaborate sessions. So when you click on this pencil, you'll see a few options for marking up the project. So I can use the pen tool to draw. I can use the text comment button to actually make a comment. Oh, okay, let's see, change flooring. And you should notice if you join the session on your phone that as I use the markup tool, you will see those markups on your screen as well. And all of these markups are recorded in the project's markup report, which, if you remember, I pointed to earlier on the project edit page. So it's there with the analytics and the share button. My final note about presenter mode is that you can give presenter privileges to a guest at any time. So to do this, you would just click on their name in the Participants tab. So I've clicked on Nick. And as we can see, Nick is moving around, looking at different areas. And if they activate a hotspot, it will activate on our end. And if they switch scenes, we will also switch scenes. As the host, I can take back presenter mode at any time just by clicking on my name. And now I am back as the host or as the presenter. Now I'm just going to quickly go over Explore mode. So in this mode, all guests can explore the project freely, and this includes activating hotspots and navigating to new scenes. During this time, Explore mode will gaze through each guest's view every 10 to 15 seconds, so you as the host can see what all your guests are looking at and where they are exploring. Again, if you're in Explore mode and you want to take back the control, you can just click on Present again. Okay, so now I'm just going to end our Collaborate session, and that will actually wrap up today's webinar. So I'm going to return to our slides here. So I know that was a lot of information maybe to take in a short amount of time. I hope that you were able to take away some new ideas for sharing and collaborating with Yulio. Thank you all again for joining me today. If you have any questions, you can submit them in the question box, and I will stick around for the next couple of minutes to answer those. As a reminder, if you want to book an additional training session with me on anything we covered today, my email is up on the screen, so please feel free to reach out and I will gladly work with you to set up a time for us to meet. Of course, you can also email me at any time if you have any questions that pop up later. All right, I'll stick around for a couple of minutes, but thank you again for joining me today and have a great rest of your afternoon.